5 reasons why your Betfair strategy is losing money. And it's really important because I think a lot of people, they have a strategy, it might be doing well, or it might have just started badly and continued to go badly, and they don't know why. And I think this can be one of the most frustrating feelings as a Betfair trader, when you have a strategy and it's not winning and you don't know why. Because the problem is, if you don't know why, you don't know how to fix it, you don't know how to fix it, and you don't know if you can fix it. And I feel that's a problem. So we're going to discuss some of those. I'm also going to talk about the solutions to this as well. So this will be a really good video, guys. Stay listening, stay watching, however you take in our content, whether it's via podcast, videos. Thanks very much, by the way, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on our videos. I really want to actually know your opinions on this. Have I missed anything? Are there any other reasons why strategies fail? Now, if I've always said, don't follow tipsters. Anyone who says I've got this strategy that always wins, doesn't lose, I always say it's a good thing when they say that to me, because I know I can instantly ignore everything they say, because it's simply not true. The reality is that if everyone was following the same tip, the value would quickly be diminished. So actually, there's no value in taking a tip that someone's doing if everyone else and everyone under the sun is backing it, because the price will move in. If you're backing something, the price will move in considerably. And if you're laying something, the price will drift. Okay? Now, with that principle in mind, it's very difficult. Even if you're a good tipster, even if you've got good strategies, it's very difficult if you've got a mass market of people who are betting on the exact same outcome all the time. Because of that, there's less likely to be value. Think about weight of money. I'll give you an example. Let's say it's a lower league game. So at the moment, we've got the summer leagues on, okay? A lot of the summer leagues, they have lower liquidity. There's less money in the markets, okay? Now, if I tell you, I found this game in Stockholm today, Swedish second division game, and there's value on this selection. Now, if everyone, even in Betfair trading community, if everyone who's a member, so if we get 500 plus people suddenly back it, the odds will come flying in. The reason why? Well, there's not much money in the market in the first place. People are going to be chasing their tails, trying to get matched. The price will come in and in and in. And inevitably, people take those shorter prices because, if you've got a tips that you like or you think they're good, you go, well, I'm going to take their tip. I'm not going to worry too much about the price. And that actually brings me on to a bit of a solution to this problem. So there's a couple of solutions. One is the one we always preach, which is that you create your own strategies, okay? Now, I know a lot of you are really adverse to this, and you're like, Martin, I don't want to create a strategy. Just please feed everything to me on a plate. The problem with that is I could give you something that works today, and like I say, if everyone on Betfair starts betting on it, it's not going to work tomorrow. You need to be able to develop your own strategies. You need to develop that skill. Now, how can you do that? Well, obviously, we offer training. We train traders to become better traders. We also have software. We have software that helps you create your own strategies. We basically give you the tools to become a successful trader, but the rest is up to you. Now, obviously, that's me saying that. I run Betfair Trading Community. That's my company. I'm going to say that, right? I'm going to say you should do that. So I would say to you, shop around, see what you like. Maybe someone else offers something you want. The point is that I know what we do, I know what I like, and I know it works for me. And I think it can work for you as well, guys. Okay. But like I say, the important thing there is create your own strategy. However you do that, even if you go, well, I don't even want to be part of Betfair Trading Community, great. Be part of whatever you like. But do create your own strategies, because that is what will help develop you as a Betfair trader. And you will then have the power to make those selections yourself, to drive the value yourself and not have to rely on someone else. And it's never a good position to be fully reliant on someone else in betting because of the mass market betting thing. But also, here's a second problem. What if suddenly they aren't very good? What if they have an argument with their wife or girlfriend and suddenly they're just having an off period, or they've just got divorced, or, a member of their family's died? What if some tragedies hit them? What if something has changed that made them a good trader and now it's changed and it's made them a bad trader? You won't know that necessarily, but you'll still keep backing what they're saying and you'll lose money in the process. So there's a lot of problems with following tipsters. The simplest solution is to create your own strategies. And like I say, that really is just always a good thing to do. If anyone ever tells you it's not a good thing to do, again, I'd really be worried if anyone ever told you that. Number two, Here's an issue that a lot of people have. Why their strategy's failing, it hasn't been tested. Now, I get a lot of people who come to me and they say, Martin, I want training in Betfair trading. I'm like, great, let's go. How long have you been trading? I've only just started. Okay, cool. Let's go from the start. Let's build a foundation. Let's create a strategy. Let's build from there. We'll test it and we'll go for it. No, I want to make money today. I want to place a bet today that makes money. Okay, but you don't know Betfair trading. You haven't trained it. No. Okay, but you want to make money right now today, and you think you just want to be instant pro at something that could be a lucrative career, but takes some effort, takes some work, takes some training, takes some discipline. Yeah, I want that all right now. Sure, it's not a bad thing to want that stuff right now, but the reality is you need to train yourself. You need to learn the game. You need to test strategies. So many people don't test strategies and then they wonder why their strategy fails. They may have a strategy they do for a day and it has 10 selections and all 10 win, and they think, brilliant, I've got a winning strategy. Brilliant, let's go, let's keep trading it. Suddenly it loses day after day and they're like, how has this happened? I had a really good strategy. No, you didn't. You had no idea whether your strategy was any good because it hadn't been tested properly. Look, even if you don't like the idea of testing a strategy, test it just for the reason of seeing if it's any good, right? That is the ultimate reason. There is no one that can deny that it's worth looking at data. It's worth testing a strategy to see if it's any good. Because if you don't know that, the chances are you're going to lose money. The chances are you're not going to have an edge, because where's your edge come from? I'm going to talk about that a bit more in detail in a minute, but think about it. Where's your edge come from in that scenario? Now, a lot of people say to me, well, Martin, I don't trade before the start. I just trade in player. I just trade on what I see. That's great. That works. Lots of people make good money from that. I often think there are really, really good advantages of betting in play because I think the market moves more. I think the market panics more. I think the market makes more mistakes in play. But the reality is you should still test it. Write your results down. See what works and what doesn't. Because you might say to me, well, Martin, I'm winning, so it doesn't really matter, does it? Okay. But what if there's something really obvious that if you tested it and looked at it, you could go, oh, hang on, if I don't do that, I'd make a lot more money. Would that not be worth doing? Because ultimately, I'm not talking about mass tweaks and changes and things like that. I'm not a big fan of that, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. I am actually just simply talking about what if there's something really obvious. There's some strategies I've done this year that I've been testing where they'll do well, but let's say the range of odds on. So when the odds are below 2.0, they do horrifically. And it's such a clear trend that well, if I remove that odds range, this strategy will perform better. But not only that, if I do the opposite on the odds on bets, I will make money. So again, that's another valuable thing you can get from testing a strategy. You might find something that doesn't work and you might be backing it, but you might go, hang on, if I laid at this odds range, I would have made X amount of money. That's why I always think back testing your strategies is always a really good thing to do. And the other thing I'll say on this, just to kind of close on this, is don't just think, well, I've done a bit of back testing, that's enough. You need to forward test. You need to see whether it works in principle. And that comes into my third point here. The third reason someone's strategy fails is that they've back fitted it. Okay. Now I know I talk a lot about back fitting, but some of you might not know. Back fitting is the concept of creating a strategy, looking at the data, and then just removing everything that doesn't work, and then expecting the strategy to just hit the stratosphere because, well, I've got rid of all the things that, in testing didn't work. Because the reality is that variance is a thing. This is another thing I'm going to talk about in a minute. It's amazing how intertwined these 5 reasons are. And there's probably a reason for that they are 5 reasons why it doesn't work. That's why they're intertwined. But backfitting is a big issue. It's a big issue that a lot of traders have. Now, this is an easy trap to fall into. I've fallen into it myself. I wouldn't criticize anyone who's done this. But I think anyone who's done this will find that what happens is that when they then go and test their strategy, it doesn't work. And then they're like, well, why is it losing money? I removed every little thing that wasn't working. The problem with that is, unless there's a clear trend, unless there's a clear reason to get rid of something, then you should keep it in because it could just be variance. And it's actually better to test and see whether it's variance or not than to just remove it, expecting everything to just come up roses. Because, hey, I got rid of all the bad data, so that means I'm only using good data moving forward. That's not how data works. And a lot of these things that people remove are quite marginal. Let's say I've got a strategy and I run it through the back testing on the horse racing software. And I see that, over the last, 100 results in Ascot, it's made a 1-point loss. Well, if I get rid of that strategy, that could just be variance. Maybe the next 100 results, it makes a 10-point profit, and I've thrown away 10 points of profit because I went, oh, well, yeah, but 1-point loss, 100 selections, that's not good, is it? The reality is that you don't want to backfit your strategies. This is again when we talk a lot about simplicity with strategies, and a lot of the strategies that work well for me have maybe 3 or 4 different criteria in them. They don't have 10, 20. I feel like when you go that route, you do start to backfit too much. And that's why you're putting so many things in your strategy. I'll give you another really good example of this actually to kind of close this off. But let's say you're doing horse racing. Well, let's say you look at a strategy and the race says, okay, number of runners. Well, I can see that between 10 and 20 runners in a horse race, 11 doesn't work and 14 doesn't work. Okay, so I'm going to remove 11 runners and 14 runners. But why? What's the reason? And this is what you should always be thinking as a Betfair trader. What is the reason this strategy isn't working? Why isn't this strategy working? I can't give you a good reason why 11 horses would work, but 10 and 12 wouldn't. And I think you'd struggle to come up with one too. And because of that, you should leave it in. The same with 14. Now, if you can see a clear trend that below 10 runners, it loses 9, 8, 7, 6, they all lose loads of money, that's a clear trend. Get rid of it. You'll be fine doing that. But if you go, well, 11 and 14 didn't work, so I'm going to remove those, but I'll keep in, 10, 12, 13, 15, 16, etc. I think you'll see that it doesn't work and you might get worse results, and then you'll be like, why has this happened? It's backfitting. It's the perfect example of it. Okay, number 4, I'm going to talk about variance now. Now, if you don't know, variance is basically luck. Okay, the luck factor. Now, we know that with Betfair trading, skill, if you're good at skill and you've got an edge, it does outweigh luck in the long run. And I stress the in the long run part, because if it's not in the long run, then yeah, you could have variance hit you straight away and, you'll think, oh, this isn't good. But actually, it's just variance. Now, your strategy might start to struggle because of variance. And you might go to me, well, Martin, I've tested it over 100 matches and it didn't have any kind of variance, and now it's having really bad variance. That doesn't make sense to me. Well, that's how variance works. You will get periods on a strategy where, and you might have tested it for thousands of games, and suddenly you just get a period where it doesn't work for a while, and then you go, there's no real explanation for this. This hasn't happened before. That's variance. Luck does play a part. Okay, skill outweighs the luck, but luck does play a part, and there's no two ways about that. Think about the football matches that you've backed where, well, if they'd only scored that penalty, I would have won my money. Or the cricket matches where, if they'd only reviewed that decision, that would have been a wicket. I would have won the match. I would have won my bet. That happens so often, okay? And variance is a mother, right? At times, variance is a mother. You can, especially if you're doing straight betting compared to trading, where you can get runs where you could lose like 30 points in a weekend and you're going, I can't believe that's just happened. That's never happened before on my strategy. So the reality is that variance is a thing. I think a good way to combat variance to a degree is the in-play stuff. Because like I say, I think you can have a bigger edge in play. I think there's more options, and trading in play. Again, trading is my true love, right? Trading is, I do a lot of set and forget stuff just to kind of save time because I don't want to be in front of my PC all day. But trading is my true love with Betfair trading. And one of the great things with it is that the market overreacts in play. We see that all the time, right? So you can take advantage of that and you can get bigger edges in play, in my opinion. Number 5, quite simply, your strategy has no edge. The reason your strategy is not working is that it doesn't have an edge. Now, this can be obvious sometimes when you look at strategy, but some people don't like the thought of it. Hey, look, I'm sure this is a good strategy. I had a good day. I had a good week with it when I first started it. I don't know why it's losing money now. maybe it never had an edge, right? It wasn't tested properly. Maybe it was back fitted, so you lost any edge you might have, and you hit some variance. And the reality is that there will just be strategies that aren't good. Okay. Now this isn't always an awful thing, because if you get a really bad strategy, well, the theory is that if you flip that strategy and do the opposite, it should start to perform well. Of course, you want to go and test that, and don't just flip it and then start back in straight away. But the point is that if you don't have an edge, you can't make money. Okay, so that's why I'm always saying, and one of the ways I always think Betfair traders should operate is have a hypothesis, right? Have a hypothesis and go, okay, and don't worry if that word, I know some of you guys are like, oh, that word's a bit scientific for me, I don't really know what it means, but all it means is have a theory. Have a think about why something might work, and then go, okay, I'm going to start betting it. I mean, the one that's really good for me to use an example of is cricket. So when teams are chasing 400 plus in a test match, it hardly has ever happened in the history of test cricket. You're talking thousands of matches. And yet, often, the odds to lay will get really low, sometimes below evens, right? So in that scenario, that's a really clear position where you go, okay, there's an edge here. If I lay this selection, chances are I'm going to make my money. And we've done that on Betfair Trading Community over the years and made small fortunes, because it's such a clear edge, but the market for some reason never accepts that it's an edge, so you can just keep milking it. Well, on the same token, if you were to go the opposite of that and go, well, I want to back a team that's chasing 400, even though they're 3.0 maybe, well, you've got a problem there, because ultimately you're not going to have an edge, and there will be times in trading where you don't have an edge. Not every market, not every strategy is going to have an edge. So I think that's something to really you just have to kind of accept. And there will be times where you study and test a strategy and you go, I should have to throw it away. The worst strategy for me is one that breaks even, because unless there's something obvious I can tweak to get it to profit, it frustrates me, because I go, well, I can't just lay it, because I can't make money that way, because it breaks even. So, it'll just break even on the other side and I'll just lose money from commission. And then you go to the other side of it and you go, well, obviously I can't back it because it's losing money and it hasn't got an edge. So I can't use the strategy. And those are the frustrating ones. But often you can find something obvious to tweak and turn it into a profitable strategy. But what I want you to think about today, I kind of want to leave you with these 5 things and think, what are the solutions to them? So number 1, mass following tips to strategies. Well, the simple solution is to create your own strategy, and the power that people get. One of the most powerful things for me as someone who trains people at Betfair Trading is when people quite often will put on the forum, on the Betfair Trading Community forum, they'll put things like, oh, I've been doing this, I've tested this, now I've gone live with it, and for the last 6 months I've been making profit. And you'll know, if you're a member or if you've been on the forum, you'll know that we get lots of blogs from people who follow the process and have success, because we give them the tools, and it's all about using those tools yourself. However you get them, you might not want to be part of Betfair Trading Community. Like I said, whatever, do your own thing. But my point is, use the tools to create your own strategies. Don't follow tipsters, and don't follow strategies where someone says, hey, if you do this strategy, you will make money. Because the reality is that if everyone jumps on that, even if it's a good strategy, which I'm always skeptical of anyway, because I've seen a lot of these things where it's just not the case, it won't be, because everyone will start jumping on it. Number 2, it's not tested. Okay, well, the solution to that is to test the strategy, even if it's an in-play one. Even if you're just a feel guy and you want to watch a match and just feel how it's going, record how that goes. Record what your feeling was. What was your feeling that made you make the trade? And then work out whether that works or it doesn't. Because it doesn't necessarily mean, gut feeling doesn't necessarily mean it's going to do well or that it's not. But it's about recording to see, does my gut feel work or does it not? Number 3, back-fitting strategies. One of the things I say is try and keep your strategy simple. I'll only really ever use 3 or 4 criteria in a strategy at the most, often less. And there's not actually really any need to go, well, I'm going to tweak this strategy, tweak. Because not only do you get the problem of backfitting, here's another problem I've just thought of that comes along with this. You're not going to get many selections. If your strategy is so tweaked that you're only getting 30 selections a year, well, what's the point? because you're not going to be able to record the data very well. It's going to take you ages to test it. So yeah, don't backfit strategies. Number 4, variance. Variance will happen, right? Now, I had someone this week come to me and say, they showed me their spreadsheet and they'd actually done really well, but the last 3 months hadn't gone so well. They'd made profit, but it's only on the strategy they were testing, not the ones they were following. It's nothing drastic, no big losses. But they were kind of ready to go, should I sack this strategies off? And I'm thinking, no, these are well up overall. You've maybe just hit some variance. See how the next 2 to 3 months go. Now, if you get 6 months and you're losing every month and, there's a clear trend downwards, then that's when I start to think about putting it on hold or dropping it. But you want to see something significant to make you do that. You don't just want to be going, oh, well, I had a couple of bad months and yeah, it's well up overall, but still, I don't like losing months. Here's a hint, no one does, right? But they happen, no matter how good you are. And believe me, they do. And again, if anyone ever tells you, any trader tells you they never lose, they never have a losing month, blah, 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 it's great because they're just telling you they're a liar. They're telling you straight off the bat. So you can go, okay, I'm going to ignore that trader. Okay, number 5, no edge. Look, some strategies just aren't going to have an edge, one way or the other. And we just have to accept that. It's frustrating, but it happens. If there's value to be had on every single Betfair market, on every single Betfair strategy, well, there wouldn't be any strategies. No one would be laying. No one would be giving you the money to bet. Wouldn't be accepting your bets, would they? Because they know they're going to lose money. So the reality is that you want to build a strategy that has an edge. And the way to do that is to think about the theory of, well, why would it have an edge? If I build this strategy, what could I do to find an edge? Maybe you look for games where historically these teams have a lot of goals, but the over 2.5 goal odds are high. So you go, well, I set a filter like that. I set a strategy like that so that I can capture all the matches where the teams have, let's say, 55, 60% of the time they hit over 2.5 goals, but also the odds are above 2.0 at kickoff. Well, I know that if I test that and trade that in theory, I could be getting value there because the odds should be evens or below. Okay, so hopefully this has helped you guys. And it's a long one. I don't always do long ones like this, but I think this is a really good subject because I think a lot of people get stuck on, well, why is my strategy losing money? I don't like the fact it is, and it's really frustrating. But I think hopefully this has helped you because you'll see 5 reasons why, and really the 5 solutions to conquer all of those problems. Guys, if you've got any that I've missed, if you've got any comments, anything you want to say, please comment on the video. Let me know your thoughts because that's always interesting to me. And it also lets me know that you like the video. And it lets me know that you want more videos like this in the future. Hope you don't mind me going in depth today with the training. I think it's really important, guys. And like I say, arm yourselves as Betfair traders and you will start to see an improvement. Keep working at it. It's not an overnight fix. Don't expect glory on day one, but expect to do well when you train yourself and when you go through a proper process of training. That's really important. I kind of reminded myself of the Wrexham manager when I was talking like that. But anyway, guys, have a great week, and I hope you make some money trading on Betfair.